Human beings have been working the clay of their own imaginations to form their deity, what they will worship, for so long that it's been canonized. What people aren't realizing is that Christianity, the reason why I say that it's rigged to fail at each person's life is because it is a religion that involves a deity who is not there right in front of the person in the human sense. Okay, I'm an intuitive too, so I get what people are about to say, but you don't understand. No, in the human sense, that limited ability to perceive in a one, two, maybe three-dimensional aspect what is around them. And because people are virtually deaf and virtually blind, as like us intuitives, pattern recognition people will say the same. Many people are very, very blind to what actually is, and reality is more expansive than they realize. And so the problem that people run into is that with Christianity is that you don't know what you're worshiping. All you know is what somebody tells you. All you know is what television somebody else tells you about this God. Some people claim to have experiences. Unfortunately, we're not able to validate or verify those things, and to test them with objective data. And I know that there will be those that disagree, but in large part, objectively be able to test those things to verify the existence of their deity. I am a person who believes in, let me get back to what I was originally saying, but yes, human beings have been working the clay of their own imagination for a very long time. And it is because they really don't know exactly what they're worshiping. All they know is what they're told. That is the fatal flaw of a human being. That is the fatal flaw of Christianity. And so that's why I was saying in those other videos, and I did a 10-minute video that I broke up, but you cannot repair a relationship between God and man. I was writing this magnum opus about it, and kind of thinking about holding up Christianity. It's just sort of a thing to be looked at, not a thing to be punished, but a thing to be looked at, to be understood, and a thing to be dissected, right? From a non theological, from a non erudite, just from a regular, average, everyday person thinking about the religion and how it affects them, because I think it would help a lot of people, because a lot of people have been horribly damaged in ways by Christianity, in the way it's taught, the way it's been spread, the things that have been folded into it that shouldn't even be there. I mean, how people got the subjugation of women out of that book, it comes from their own vain imagination. It's something that they made up. It's like how you got white Jesus out of that book when you got like a map of, like I have an RSV, I think is it a 40s RSV, and forgive me if the date is wrong, with a map of Palestine in it. And as a kid, I would pull open that map, and I knew enough from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego that the people in that area were not blonde-haired, blue-eyeds. Although they come in different varying shapes, but they weren't that Barry and Gibbs, Bee Gees Jesus that we're always presented with. And even in my grandma's Black Baptist church, they had a picture of white Jesus on the wall, and that was Jesus. And so that's why I say human beings have been working the clay of their own vain imagination for a very long time to sort of construct what it is that they believe God to be, what they believe Christ to be. And so the reason why Christianity is so rigged to fail is because it is the person who is having to imagine, to have to construct within their own mind what that is. You don't even get firsthand accounts. You get shreds reconstructed and put inside of a book and canonized over time by other men. And those other men tell you what to believe about that God. And so if you are to have an actual and a real relationship with that entity, it has to be on a firsthand, you and that entity, I attribute all good things to that entity, but I attribute both the bad and the good. That's why I said I have to return to it, because it is me as just a regular human being from a non-theological standpoint, because I thought I was going to, go to school and go get an MDiv or some kind of doctorate, because it's really could be something phenomenal. and most of which I don't even talk about on this channel. But because there is a path forward for Christianity that will only come in the death of what we're seeing. And until that form of Christianity, the people are willing to give that up, to sacrifice, to put it on the altar and let it go, there's no path forward for that religion. There is no path forward because, quite frankly, the religion was never the point. I say this all the time. The religion was never the point. And because people decided, instead of just building community one with the other, breaking bread, talking about the good things. Hey, I'm blessed like this. Let me tell you what I believe blessed me this week. Instead of just doing that, it became a scam Olympics. And a scam Olympics that generated successful scams, the prosperity preachers, prophets for profits, all that mess. And as I watch that mess wash over back into Africa, as I've talked about it in this channel before, I am sad. I am sad and disappointed. And I look to that entity, all these 40,000 iterations, 40 plus, somebody reported 45,000 versions of Christianity that have been ginned up in people's imaginations with no version control. I blame the deity, because the fact that Christians, and then you also, it's a book. I don't really want to go into it, all of it on here, but I think it's important that people understand that I've been talking about that for a while, is that we were all taught that we have a God-shaped hole in all of us, and our propensity. It's a weakness in human beings to need to worship something, instead of considering what that God could have been. That shepherd could have been someone who provides you with leadership and guidance, a mentor in your short little lives as human beings. They decided to worship it. There's so much to say, but I should just save it for the book. But yeah, this comment is very much so in line with what I feel. Every time I sit and I listen to most Christians, there's a point, and I am thankful. I even have to say, I thank God for deconstruction. I am thankful for that, because my spirit, my intuition recognized that there was something wrong with it. Okay. And that I could smell the stench of a rotting corpse while others kept walking up to that. It's like the pervy old grandpa or family member that people just keep embracing and letting amongst themselves, and not forcing that individual to pay for its crimes, and then and to fix itself, and to still be kept at a distance because of what they've done. They just bring it right back in their lives. And so I digress. This is going long, but I agree with you. I have forever thought this. And then there was one video many years ago. I was sitting in my bed and it hit me, because I was like, why is my intuition telling me that there is something so deeply wrong with these people and they don't see it? And that they're like zombies walking around, and that I, as an intuitive, can say, reality is more expansive than you think. And there are things that exist. I try to tell people, like, there are things that exist here on planet Blue that would blow the mind. But because human beings are so very blind and intolerant to, like, I wouldn't say intolerant. That's too negative. I would say unable to perceive, that they miss it. They absolutely miss it. The beauty and the complexity, and they miss the things that they can't perceive. But I'll digress. I have to say this, that the thing that they worship is evil, because the thing that they're worshiping is themselves. And even when they make the honest effort not to be worshiping themselves, they're worshiping someone else, because it will always be someone else's version of God, because God is a non-unique identifier, whether you want to call it Yahweh, whatever you decide to call it, Hashem, Adonai, or whatever. It always does not properly identify what we all should be understanding as God and as the supreme God. And whew, there's so much more to say, but I will leave it there.